Hello and welcome to PM Studios Programming Tutorials number 6. Today we're going to be going over for loops and we're going to be creating a factorial calculator with the for loops that we're going over. So if you can see, I've already created our very basic program. It's going to be import java.utilscanner, and then it's going to have the class and the main method like always. So as you can guess, the first thing we're going to be declaring is an int. The reason why we're doing ints instead of floats this time is because the nature of factorials is that they have to be a non-negative integer, meaning that they cannot have decimal places, even if you were to do them in real life. You'd generate an error if you were to do that because it doesn't know how to hold on to decimal places. So we're going to go int start, and then we're going to declare another one called finish, and then we're going to do one last one called answer, and we're going to make answer equal to 1. The reason why is because regardless of what you do, even if you were to set the factorial of 0 to, if you were to run the factorial of 0, it would still return 1. So regardless of what happens, the answer is always going to remain 1. Next thing we're going to do is we're going to declare a scanner. Scanner input equals new scanner system.in. And that is nothing new either. So the next thing we're going to do is we're just going to do system.out.writeLine. And basically what we're going to do is we're going to prompt the user to enter in the two values, the starting value and the finishing value of their factorials. So I'm going to go ahead and go silent while I do this. Okay, and then start equals input.nextInt. Again, nothing new, but I might as well go back over it again. Then we could just copy this if you would like to, so just for the sake of time, I'm going to go ahead and do that. We're just going to do please enter the ending number. And I'm aware I could have just left the ing in there and typed end instead of start. I'm going to do finish. And then that's done. And then the next thing we're going to do is we're going to go ahead and throw in our for loop. So for loops in Java programming are slightly different from for loops in small basic programming in the case where you don't need the for whatever the variable is to whatever this ending number is. For this one, you would simply do int x, inside parentheses of course, int x equals, and then you initialize what you want its value to be. So it's going to be start, because we want it to start at that value. And then we're going to close that, and then x is less than or equal to. We want it to include the finish number, so it's going to be less than or equal to. Start is less than or equal to finish, and then we're going to do x, x plus plus. Okay, so what this is going to do is it's going to initialize this value, which we're going to be using as a counter called int x, and it's going to initialize its value at start. And I'll show you why we want to keep start as it is later on in the program. So we're going to initialize x as start, and then we're going to say as long as x is less than or equal to finish, then we want it to increment by 1 every time you run through the loop. Now that's what plus plus means. Plus plus means it will increment the value of whatever you're doing it to by 1 every time you call that function. Now alternatively, if you wanted to subtract one item from every time, you'd do minus minus. So just a little thing to keep in mind. Like I said, I will show you why we don't just throw in start here and the start is less than or equal to finish a little bit later. But let's go ahead and continue on with this for loop. I'm going to put our braces here, and then we're going to do answer. And then this is another tricky one. This is going to be times equals. And basically what that means is, I'm going to go ahead and finish typing it out, so it's going to be times equals x. Basically what that means is it's just a shorthand version of writing answer equals answer times x. And that's exactly what times equals means. As you can see, it saves a lot of time and a lot of space. So once that's all finished, that's the only thing we're going to be putting in this for loop. Excuse me. Alright, and then outside of the for loop, we're going to be doing system.out.println. And we're going to go the factorial. Keep putting an I in there. Factorial of. And then put a space, close quotes, plus start. And that's why we wanted to keep it as what it originally was. And or of start 2 put another space, plus finish. Put quotes in there, is, let's put space right there, and then answer. And then if you wanted to, you could put the period in. I'm just going to do it just for the sake of proper formatting. Alright, so now what we should be able to do is we should be able to save this. Again, it has to be saved as what your class is called. Notice how my class is called for loops. I saved it as for loops. I'm going to overwrite that, and as you can see, I did something wrong. I forgot a plus there. And what did I forget there? System.out.writeLine. Whoopsies, that was my mistake. I'm thinking back into small basic, it's print line. Okay, that solved that. So let's go ahead and compile this. Alright, so please enter the starting number of your factorial. So I'm going to do 1, just for the sake of it, and 10. Now, if you want to double check and make sure that all the math in this program is running properly, you can always go to Wikipedia and then look up factorials, and it has a chart of all the factorials from 1 to like 50. So you can always keep track. Just bear in mind that you're working with integers and not doubles or longs for that matter, so it does have an upper limit of like 2 billion as the top number that you can do, so I would be wary of plugging any numbers in that are higher than a factorial of, I'd say, like 20, or a factorial of 15 would probably be more accurate. So 1 to 10, as you can see, it's 3,628,800. If you were to look at that chart on Wikipedia, you would see that that is correct. Now, the neat thing about this program is that it actually does allow you to, if you push F2 to reset the interactions, it does allow you to do any factorials you want. So say you need to start at 5 and go to 10, you could do that as well, and that would be 151,200. So that's pretty much it for this tutorial. Please bear in mind that a lot of the cases when you're using for loops you'll have to nest if statements inside of them, but for loops are a very handle and a very essential part of the Java programming language, and I'd be hard-pressed not to go a day without using them. So get familiar with them, learn to understand them, because they are a crucial part of the programming language that you will need to learn. So that's it for this tutorial. I hope you guys have enjoyed it, and I look forward to seeing you in the next one.